All right, let's get started now. Thanks for coming along. Today we're going to go through RedView CRM and talk about how we've used technology in the marketplace to help law firms with their business development and marketing needs. My name's Stephen Butler. I'm the CEO at RedView and also the RedView product manager. I've been involved with law firms for quite a long time, and particularly from a marketing perspective. And we've been listening to what the market needs to build a law firm-specific CRM. The type of things that we've seen as we've been talking to people is generally disjointed systems and a disjointed approach to management of probably a key area of the business in terms of managing business development and new clients coming on board. So there's a lot of systems that are out there that sort of focused upon general sales practices as opposed to law firms, and we've tried to do something to meet that need for law firms. So how we've gone about that is we've built a fully integrated solution now. It moves through the whole process from capturing a new inquiry to managing the client and the client relationship, and then building marketing tools and the like to help grow your business. So the system comes, I guess, in two flavors. First of all, a standalone version where the system sits by itself and information about leads, clients, contacts is loaded into the detail into the system and into our database and then managed through the process. Um, However, and that's ideal for small firms, particularly on the lead management side of things. We can get people up and running really quickly to capture that sort of data, and bring contacts into a central database and information all in the one place. So the other aspect though is where we then have an integration with a PMS solution. And in this instance, we can start to do more things. First of all, we bring all of the client and contact and matter information into our database and keep it synchronized with the PMS. And then that enhances some of the things that we can do because we now have access to financial information about the client and the matters. We can look for duplicates. We can do a whole range of things, and then indeed we can create the matter back into the practice management system from an onboarding perspective. Today, in terms of integrations, we've built 9 so far. So a range that are there. We're currently talking with another 2 firms that are along and vendors that are interested as well. And then in terms of the product today, we released the software in early 2020, just at the start of COVID. And today we have about 70 plus clients worldwide, 1,200 registered users that are using the product. And we have clients in Australia, about 35 there, 30 odd in the UK, and a few now in North America and the US. The smallest client is 5 people. We have a number of people, clients that are 5 to 10 people, and the largest is 220. The technology doesn't really dictate the size. We could have a much larger firm. We could go to 500 or 1,000 people if we wanted to. And then what we've done over the period is work out to have different versions of the product that are available for different needs. So depending upon the size of the firm and your requirements, then there are different options available with different price points to allow you to get up and running quickly and easily. And indeed, that's been a key part of our focus has been to make the product as easy as possible to integrate, implement, and get up and going with. So let's have a look at the software now. So software is browser based, so it's a true SaaS solution. The software sits in the cloud, the data sits in the cloud. We're ISO 27001 accredited in terms of data security, and we use Microsoft Azure as our cloud platform. So here's the software. We support Safari as well for Macintosh users, but Chrome, Edge, and Firefox. Uh, there's then a user-based security role, which defines the access to the level of functionality that you want to have people have access to, and the range of functionality is available there. So here we are in the new inquiries area to start off with. So the crucial aspect of our new inquiries functionality is to make sure we're tracking all of the leads that are coming into the system, and then giving you processes to make it as easy as possible to follow up and make sure that things aren't slipping through the cracks. So capturing a new inquiry there's a few ways. The first is just through a form here. So we have the ability to enter in the details manually. We have some important fields, the source of the business and the type of work that are applicable. And that can be entered in through a form. An alternate way of capturing information is where you're using our API to incorporate external sources of data electronically. So in most instances, people are using it on their website for the capture of their contact us or whatever strategy they have in terms of their digital marketing. But we have a number of clients that have incorporated it into Facebook and Insta and LinkedIn marketing as well, so that the information, wherever it's captured, is captured without having to rekey. So in this instance, what we have is someone who's come into our website, they've hit the submit button, and they formatted their phone number properly, and that then gets logged into our system with the information that's been registered here. So what we see now, if we go back to the database, we'll have that new inquiry that's just come in, and it's been logged into our database there, coming from the website. Now, importantly, we're starting to incorporate some workflow into the process now. So if we go to our Outlook area here, and we have a look in this email, which we've directed our notifications to. So what we can see here is that a notification has come through, directed by the system to a designated person or team, depending upon the type of work and location and a whole range of different things. These notifications, you'll notice here, we're now using the actionable message functionality that's available within Microsoft's Power Automate area. So here, the idea is that you've got a notification and you can directly update the system from within Outlook. So we're entering the data there. We can select from the drop-down list of users that are in RedView. We hit save, and that updates the record within RedView. So there's no need then to go anywhere else in terms of processing the inquiry. The other thing that can occur is that we can set up an auto acknowledgement back to the inquirer, so they immediately get a response back from the firm, which can be tailored to incorporate images, links, and can come different areas of law can have a different response. We then, once an inquiry is assigned to someone, they also get an actionable message notification where that they can enter the follow-up. They might be too busy to handle it, so they can assign it to someone else. They can record internal notes. They can message about the inquiry. So the use of Outlook and the capture, and management of information through Outlook is key to the approach that we've taken. Law firms generally, the lawyers and people are working in Outlook all the time. So we're trying to make tools there to help that sort of process and making it easy as possible to collect the information. So while we're in Outlook, then what we'll have a look at is another way of capturing information. So if a lead is coming in via from an email or potentially referred by another party, or it's coming to a group email address, what we've done here now is used Office 365's Office add-in capability. So here, what we can say is, well, we've got a new inquiry that comes in, so we'll just select to add that into the form, to fill in the form that I showed you previously. In the first instance, what it's doing is extracting information out of the email header. But in this case, we've got the details in the body of the email. So if we select the AI button here, what will happen is it will use AI to scan the contents of the email and extract the information out of the database as easily as a click of a button. So we've now filled in the form. We might want to incorporate that email into the inquiry as a record as well. We can say, well, look, we can work out that this is a wills and estate matter, and we want to assign it to Barbara to look after. So we now save that, and we've put the information into the database, and we've triggered now the workflow for Barbara to be notified that she's got a new inquiry. And indeed, we could have automatically acknowledged back to the inquirer at that point in time. So we then now have captured data into the database. So we have here a range of the inquiries that we've captured. So there's one that's just come through from the website. That's the one that was just loaded in from the Outlook add-in there. If we go into the inquiry, what we can then do, we have some further capabilities within the system here. So firstly, there are other pieces of information that you can capture about the inquiry. So if, for example, during the process where we can get the address details of the person, we can capture that and fill that in very quickly. There are other capabilities that are available here. So we can set up template emails and send an email to the person to say that perhaps we need some more information. So here we can we'll get the template email. We can then it will fill it in. We can then use some AI to draft extra bits to put into the email if we want. And then send that off, and that's tracked against the inquiry record. We then can do other things as well. So we can select to if your process is talking to the person, so bringing them in for a meeting or having a meeting via Zoom or Teams, then you can book that meeting and log it through send it through to the person. We can send an SMS here, same type of approach with the emails, where you can pick a template and select it, and it will merge the details into the SMS to send to the person. With booking meetings, we can send SMS reminders as well. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible to process the inquiry quickly and efficiently and professionally. In terms of follow-up, then what we can do, you'll see down the bottom here, is that the system will calculate a follow-up reminder date, so that the person looking after the inquiry will automatically get a reminder. Or indeed, if you want to automatically follow up rather than remind the person, you can select this button and select a template email, and that will then use automation to send them an email on the follow-up date that you selected, rather than having to do it yourself. So a whole range of processes here that we're using with Outlook and with email and with the system to make the follow-up as easy as possible. We then provide a facility to monitor what's going on so we can see what follow-up is due. Most of the time we're overdue in this little system, but I might want to break it down by who's who's looking after it. So who are the people that are we've assigned these tasks to, and where are they at, so we can see um, how old some of these items are, and from here we can just quickly message the person to say, hey, what's going on, and potentially prompt some activity. So as a manager, you can see all of the open um, inquiries and assigned by person, or you can break it down by team. You can look at a whole different sort of view. So trying to make the information quickly and easily available to the people to the management to see what's going on. Once we've gone through the process by collecting that information against the inquiry, we can then provide you some analytics back here. So what we then have is, well, how many inquiries are coming in? What's our conversion rate? Um, I didn't show not proceeding, but you're required to give a reason for the person not going forward, and that we can then provide some analyses on that, where things are coming from, what type of work's coming in. When we have an integration to the practice management system, we can then get the billing information to see what sort of billing is being generated by our marketing activities. So, pardon me, in the last 3 months, we've had 4 matters that have come through our website that have generated $17,000 in fees. We can see how long it's taking people to follow up. We can see what our sales pipeline looks by the area of law and location and the like. And then there are various other ways of breaking things down. So we can filter then this by the potentially the area of law. So what's happening with our commercial law group, and we can see their view of what's happening, so that we can understand how our marketing spend is working and where we need to look at things. Um, so that the idea there is simply, if we can capture this data, and we're trying to make it as easy as possible for the data capture to occur, is to get that information into the system, and then we can then use it to analyze and provide information on various pieces of activity and the like. If we go back to the events and sorry, to the inquiries list here, then what we'll see is, if we have an area, this record here has now been through the process as pending matter. So we now have a button where we can create the matter. So where we have an integration into the practice management system, we simply select this matter, fill in some further information that's pertinent to the practice management system, and then the system will take all of the matter and documents and everything collected in it and push that into the matter within the practice management system. So none of that data needs to be rekeyed. In terms of then the other sort of important aspect of for a law firm is managing and understanding what's happening with the referrers. I didn't point it out, but when you add an inquiry, you can link it to a referrer here. So if we use the referral source, we can then select who the referrer is that has referred through the inquiry. And now if we go then to our referrers dashboard, or referrers area, what we can see is a list of all the referrers. So we can see here that Excel Accountants has referred us 19 inquiries, 7 matters. And then because we have an integration with the practice management, we get the billing again. If we go into the details of the referrer here, then we've got the contact details and any background information and the like that we've kept. If we move through here to the referrers dashboard, we see the activity that's come in and when the inquiries are coming in, when they've turned into matters, what type of work, what type of fees are being generated by the different types of work that are coming through, what the referral patterns look like. And here, what we can then start to do is as well is record notes against the referrer. So we might have had a meeting about with the referrer to talk about something. We can keep the details of that information available and centralized in the one database so that everyone can see it. And indeed, what we can do is set up a follow-up task. So in this instance, we have a follow-up due in 5 months' time. So, we've touched base with the referrer, maybe had a lunch, maybe had a discussion about, a whole range of things. And we want to touch base again in 5 or 6 months' time, then we can set that reminder here, and that will then go onto our task board of things to do. So if I look at this screen here, what we'll see is the range of activities. So what's overdue, what's coming up in the next week. So my meeting with the referrer, I won't forget it because I'll be reminded at the time that I selected to bring that through. So that's in terms of managing the new business process. So the other aspect of the system is managing clients and the client relationship. So what we then have is a database of client and contact details. So this can either, in a standalone basis, this is loaded either manually or imported through an Excel spreadsheet. With a practice management integration, we can then bring the data in and synchronize with the practice management data. So the things we do here are we have the base information of the contact details, but we can then add extra pieces of data so that we can keep information about the person. So we can here have we can capture the picture. Let me find a better. So here we can capture background information, who the relationship manager. Importantly, we can create our own user-defined what we call tags, so to segment and allow the creation of lists and the like. And the information we can now using AI to go and get professional information so that we can get a background on the person and save that into the system as well. So that information then becomes available to everyone. So once more, if we go into the details of the contact here, we can see what we can record notes against them like we can with the referrers and have similar follow-up activity with this information to make it easier. So when you're out and about, we then have our mobile app. So if we have a look at the tool here, um, here we can see the same central database of client and contact information is available via the mobile phone. So if I select my clients and contacts here, I want to have a look at Peter McGregor. So I'm going to meet with Peter. I've got the details coming through from the mobile phone. I can then, if I want to, I can tap on the number to call him or whatever. I can then record a note. So I had a meeting with him. It was a good meeting. Met with Peter and we talked about a whole lot of things. There's some work coming up in the future. We've got to keep in contact. So we save that away. That then gets recorded straight away. If we go now back into our notes area, what you'll see is that note has been captured, and we can now set a follow-up to keep in contact if we want to. But the key thing here is trying to get all of the information about the relationship with the client, trying to make it easily captured and entered into the central database so that it's available to everyone, pardon me, within the firm. Similarly, we're using, yeah, we've built Outlook add-ins in Outlook for this same capability. So the first thing is potentially capturing a new inquiry, a new contact. So what we can do here is um, use the an Outlook add-in. So we've got a new person we want to get into our database. So we can select the Outlook add-in here for a new contact. Um, in the first instance, I think it's going to tell me it's not a new contact, but let's see. So we then, once more, it's found the contact details and it's telling us that we've already got this in our database, but let's carry on anyway. So we might want to capture the organization, so we can then use the AI tool in this instance, and it will scan through the contents of the email to get the details of both the person with the full details, but then the organization that they work for. And now we're adding both of those, the person and the organization into the database, and we're doing that from within Outlook. Equally, if we want to keep details about an existing contact up to date, so what we can do is select the button here. We can um, just look up Peter. So there's that same detail that I showed you previously. We have the history of the notes there. In this instance, we're just showing that he's also available with, he has two open matters with the firm. We've got, the contact details, and I can update and keep that information all together. If I want to, log that we've had some activity, I can either select the dictate button here to type that in, to talk that in, or I can use the AI button and it will scan the contents of the email and write a quick summary of the activity so that we can save that away and push that into the database. So the real key is we're trying to use the technology um, as well as we can to, first of all, encourage and make easy the capture of the data. Because if we get that data into a central database, then it's something that the firm can use as a whole. So in a similar sort of vein, then, so once we have that information all collected into the one place, there are other facilities that become available. So, but before going there, I'll just talk a little bit more about if you're a corporate user and looking to manage clients, corporate clients. So in this instance, what we do, if we look at this client here, what we can see then is we've got the contact details. Where we have integration with the practice management system, we can then look at that data and give you a dashboard of activity with the firm. So with the client, sorry. So here we can see the billing over the last of all time, what type of matters they've got, where they are, looking at the practice management system data. Equally, we can record notes and activity against the firm, and some of this can be automatically generated by the system. But what we can then do is start to see what type of activity is occurring, so we can see, who are the main people contacting the client, what type of contacts have they been, and then looking at the time recording data, we can see who's actually working on the client. So what you can see at this point in time is a bit of an overview of where potential relationships exist within within the firm with the client. So taking all of that information a little bit further then is we can then start to use that to create marketing lists. So here we might have set up, tagged people, whether they're clients of the firm or whether they're new contacts or people that you want to target. We might have them targeted for to receive a newsletter. So by using the newsletter, using the tag functionality, we can say, look, we want everyone to receive the newsletter. We can now just simply create a list and extract that out and use it within our mailing list, or however we want it to be use of choice. So by selecting that data and getting that information out of the database, we can then use it in various different ways. The selection criteria, range from things like addresses and birth dates and the like, to financial information coming from the practice management system. So if there's, you may want to mail to all of the clients who have spent or who you've billed, $25,000 or more in the last 12 months, then that can be used as a selection to find those details really quickly and easily. We then similarly can look at the referrer information, so we can then look at how, let's get in contact with all of the referrers that we haven't contacted in the last 6 months, for example. Where we have the matter information, we can look at by instruction date or completion date or the type of work, who's acting, who's responsible for it, where the matters haven't been active for a long period of time. A very classic example with estate lawyers is give me a list of all of the clients that we did a will for, but we haven't been in contact with for 3 years. So that we can write to them and suggest that maybe it's time for review. And then equally, what you can do is look at the previous inquiries that have come through, so that we can maybe remarket to those people, depending upon an area of law or location and the like. So trying to use the information that we've collected and to be able to extract and use it in different ways to create marketing campaigns and the like. The roadmap item here for us is to make this even more automatic. So being able to set up rules to say, when you want to prompt people from an emailing approach. So it could be 3 months after receiving instructions, or 6 months after the completion of a matter, to be able to have rules that set and forget and automatically prompt on that marketing process. So then the next area in here is the events and campaigns process. So what we allow you to do is create a list and then log it as an event or a campaign. So in some instances, we, for example, with this digital tracking campaign here, we're logging that against the inquiry automatically. So it recognizes from your landing page and UTM codes that it belongs to this particular campaign. And then we can start to provide facilities like, okay, well, pardon me, this digital campaign cost us $3,000, generated 70 inquiries. The cost per inquiry was $43, and that's generated $22,000 in billing. Another type of campaign could be a follow-up campaign. So in this instance, what we do is we create the list from our marketing list, and then we have the ability to use it as potentially a phone list, where you call the person, you can log whether they've responded, you can log an activity, you can potentially send them an email by selecting here we want to please confirm your contact details. So it'll create the email. And then you can send it through. And I'm using this as just a simple example, but it could be a follow-up email, it could be a whole range of things. So the idea here is that you can very quickly identify a list of people that you want to contact. As I say, if it's a phone contact process, then you can put that in and enter the details really quickly, and then log what's happening. And all of that activity will be recorded against the contact in the clients and contacts that I showed you previously. So once more, just trying to make it easily as possible to do things and then keep that data all together in the one database so that you can then see the history, see activity and mine it and use it for a whole range of different things. So that's the basics of the product overall. The technology, the integration between Outlook is and our system is really crucial for us. The use of the actionable messages to facilitate workflow um, through Outlook and the Power Automate um, technology provide makes it easier for the lawyer to actually get in and do things. The integration with our API into websites and Facebook and the like makes the easy capture of the information simple and no rekeying and the like. And as I say, where we have an integration back to the practice management system, we can use that data and create the client and the matter all at once. So in terms then of how we're going forward is to try and extend all of these capabilities. I talked briefly about the automated marketing capability that we're working on at the moment, but the other area that's important for us is onboarding. So just what we've started to do now is if we go into the inquiries area here, what we've provided is, or what we've built is the facility to create your own custom forms. So here, if I select the TPD area of law, what you'll see is we've got the basic contact details for the inquiry, but now you can build your own form to capture further details. So the idea here is that someone who's talking to a new inquiry can have this information and instructions on what to do easily available. So in the first instance, a less senior person can be collecting inquiries and information before it goes to a lawyer or a more senior person. But importantly, what we're working on is making this, being able to send this form to the person so that they can fill the information in themselves. So the idea here is that you'll design your form, send that through to the person, they'll fill it in, and the information will be updated into the database. Without you having to do things. And then once more, we can transfer that through to the practice management system. So all of the information is kept together. So with that, I'm gone through all of the things that we wanted to go through today. I think we're on time for filling it all off. If I have an opportunity for some quick questions if anyone has some. Otherwise, we can call it a day and everyone can get on. Hi, Damien. No, we don't do the actual emailing. There are just a number of very good systems in the marketplace that look after that. What we do is provide an extract of the people that you want to mail to, and then you feed it into your desired practice EDM system. Sure. Normally, we get people up and running in a couple of days. Um, as I mentioned before, the idea is, really to be as out of the box as possible. There are a couple of key lists that need to be defined, but it's a cloud-based solution, and usually we can get going really quickly. All right, guys. Well, look, thanks for coming along. If any questions, we'll be, I think, sending out the recording in the near future. So any questions, please feel free to send through. Otherwise, enjoy your day.